Internet land, how is it going? Hope it's going pretty well because it is going pretty crappy for me. Uh, if anybody's noticed, episode 2 of the Daily hasn't been uploaded because I messed with my sounds a little bit to try to fix my mic, and it kind of, instead of my mic not working well, my sound completely stopped working. So for an hour, it's just me going, and then that's all for like about an hour and a half straight. So I feel like they probably wouldn't get very many views. People probably wouldn't learn much from that, so I deleted it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to redo that daily, which was my low elo Warwick jungle commentary. I'm just going to redo that for Friday. So it won't be a live show, but because I'll be out of town. So actually, I'll probably record it either tonight, maybe tomorrow, and then I'll just post it on YouTube and have it come up on Friday. So I really do apologize for that. Like I said, I'm really new to all of this, so mistakes like that will happen. Hopefully, it won't happen very much more. But if it does, I do apologize. I think I worked out the kinks. I think I figured out what was causing it. So hopefully, we won't have that happen again. I also apologize for the lighting. It's a little bit more dim in here. My light in my room exploded. I guess that, like, when for some reason light bulbs go dead, they just explode. And so the lighting's a little bit less illuminating. But I'm not emo. I'm not trying to, I don't set my room at dark and talking here, so I'll get that fixed too, hopefully. So today, what's really cool about episode 3 of the Daily is it's my first pro game analysis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take a pro game, which is TSM versus AL. They played in the 4PL. And I'm going to kind of break that down and tell you what they do, why they do it, and whichever team won. I don't really want to spoil who won because it was actually a really good game. But if you haven't watched this game, if you haven't had a chance to watch this series, this is game 2, which I believe is marked on the website as game 3. They had a kind of a mess up on the recording, so game 1 and 2 is actually game 1, and then game 3 and 4 are game 2 and 3. So if you haven't watched the series, you don't want to be spoiled by who won, please don't watch this. You can watch this after you've watched those games. You can go to silamid.net, go to the video section, it's on there. But if you don't care or you have watched them, we'll get into it and go over who won. So without further ado, let me get my thing up here. Get it on full screen. Make sure I switch back over my screen. All right, so start the video. All right, so starting out, I always like to analyze picks and bans really heavily in these pro level analysis because this is really where a lot of the games are won and lost. High level play, little advantages you can get, and the champion select can really translate into a lot easier game. Once you get into the actual game portion, I mean, it's a lot harder to outplay a team when they have a lot better picks than you. So here, I want to pause it real quick. The first pick for AL was Mundo. So obviously Mundo is going to jungle. Mundo is not very good in any other, any of the lanes. Some people try to run him top. I've seen a couple of low level people try to do that. I don't personally like Mundo top. So obviously at high level play, which this is obviously is, he'll be ran in the jungle. So for TSM's first pick, they picked Udyr. And I really like that because Mundo has the fastest jungle clear time. And Mundo is also the safest jungler that you can play. I'm going to hit play here while I pick the thing. But Mundo is also, he's not only the fastest, but he's also the safest. It's really hard to counter jungle Mundo because he clears so fast, and he has kind of a perma-slow with his cleaver. So because of that, Odd1 they just picked Udyr, so he can jungle just about as fast, and he's fast enough to actually possibly counter jungle Mundo. He's one of the few junglers that can do that. They also picked Kog'Maw and Janna, which is a good lane. One thing I do like about TSM, I noticed they started doing this. A lot of teams they'll do this thing where they'll pick they'll jungle first or their support first, and then they'll go do their their bottom lane and their jungle after that. I like that TSM is kind of doing this thing, especially them being on the purple side. They pick their mid. They know that Ryze is an awesome mid. Ryze is actually really hard to counter mid. He has good jungle control, and I like that they just say, all right, Ryze is open, here, we'll just pick him. We don't care. Try to counter Ryze. It is actually very difficult. And what that allows them to do is save their picks to counter pick bottom lane, which I really, really like that, and I feel like TSM did a really good job here. So they do counter pick Janna Kog'Maw by going Soraka Graves, which is an awesome counter pick. Graves has the magic resist and the armor to sustain the lane against a cog ball. Obviously, Soraka adds to that, so it's a very very good lane. Also, because they're on the purple side, they're not going to get much help from the jungle because being on purple side, you're on the jungle's blue wolf side, which means it's really hard for the jungler. It puts the jungler behind really quickly if he has to keep coming down and trying to save your ass. So I like that they have this really sustaining lane bottom, so they won't really need as much help if played safely. So we're waiting on AL's pick here. Obviously, I know what that is, but we'll see. Actually, a little bit. Okay. So they pick Morgana Warwick. Apparently, Anguish is actually pretty well known for his Warwick play. Again, because they picked, I kind of want to go back a little bit. A lot of newer players, they'll get into these picks, especially in draft mode, and they'll see these picks and they'll be like, "Crap, what Mundo can jungle and Warwick can jungle. Where are they going to go? Where are they going to go?" And because of that, they can't understand who's going to jungle, and it's at high level play. It's very obvious. Like I talked about earlier, Mundo really can't do anything but jungle, so obviously Warwick's going to go top. So because of that, we know as a spectator, even though that Warwick is being picked by AL's jungler, that he's obviously going to go top. So it's really important to know that going forward. Also, they picked Morgana. Ryze does decent against Morgana. He has high cooldowns. He can put out early harass. But, once it starts getting towards the end game, they kind of cancel each other out. It's really just a farm lane. They both have good sustain mid. They both have good sustain lane. And they both have, good opportunities to farm. So, neither of them are going to really have an advantage going into this. Then the last pick for TSM is Lee Sin. Now, this is where it does get a little tricky. I know when I was watching this through the commentators, they thought that Dyrus would play Udyr top. Again, knowing a little bit about things, that Mundo is going to destroy Lee Sin in the jungle, so they're going to have to play Udyr against that. And Lee Sin actually does very well against Warwick top at the early levels. Warwick is a little weak 1 through 6. He's very prone to ganks, and he's very he doesn't have a high mana pool, so his sustain doesn't start building up until a little bit later. So in those points, Lee Sin can really do a lot of damage to Warwick, and I think that there was really good picks by both. This is also something really good you can do at lower level play is pick these picks and try to confuse the other team, because a lot of times people don't understand what's going on, and you can really they'll pick to try to counter Lee Sin jungle when in reality you're doing Udyr or vice versa. So we'll talk a little bit about the bans. We'll talk of AL's bans. They choose to ban Galio first. I really like that ban because Reginald does play a very good Galio, and Galio himself is just super strong. In the laning phase, he's very hard to knock out. Obviously he builds magic resist, so he's very devastating for a lot of middles to be able to knock out a lane, and he does have great control with his ultimate, and it slows. Olaf, this is a good ban for two reasons for AL. Number one, Olaf is a very strong top champion. Here recently he's rose in popularity. He's been he's been played and been abused a lot in high elo play. To the point where people think that he's super overpowered and can't be beaten by anybody. This isn't necessarily true, but Olaf is a very strong ban, and Olaf destroys Warwick top. Olaf is a really good counter pick to Warwick because Warwick cannot out-sustain his true damage. So because Anguish tends to play Warwick a lot, I feel like that this ban was kind of to help make sure that if Anguish can get Warwick, the other team can't counter with Olaf, which I like that. And then Shin is obviously just a good ban because Shin is ridiculous for multiple reasons. We talked about that a little bit a couple of days ago. For TSM, I really like their bans as well. They're starting to ban out Alistar, which I really like. Alistar is very, very devastating for a team. He comes in, he headbutts, he pulverizes, and it's just this huge disruption. It's really, really annoying. The Ashe ban is a little odd for me. I know Ashe is very strong. Her initiation is ridiculous. She has, I would say, one of the best initiations in the game. Definitely the best for AD carry. She is very strong. But she is really weak in the laning phase, if not teamed up with the right support. So I thought it was kind of weird that they banned Ashe, but I think it is a good ban just because she is so strong. And then the last ban for TSM was Urgot, which is another really good ban. Urgot is very, very strong. He can build super tanky and still do a ton of damage. His double sustain, his suppress allows for double suppress combos. It also allows for really good ganks via like Nocturne's ult into the switch. So it is a very strong band for TSM. Let this commercial thing kind of play through here just a little bit. Kind of skip on. I think we got like 10 seconds for the starts. And then kind of going off, I want to talk a little bit about the summoner spells as well. There's a couple weird summoner choices for both teams. Well, actually not for both teams, just really for AOL. Um, the Mundo took Smite Exhaust, which is okay. Mundo can take you know Smite Exhaust. It's very good. Allows him to allows his already strong ganks to become a lot stronger. He can come in, throw his cleavers, get close to you, exhaust you, and it's really hard to get away. It's almost a guaranteed kill. But the problem with this is Mundo doesn't really have any really good escapes besides his ultimate, so he can't ultimate and get that that speed burst and be able to get away really quick. But if he gets ignited, and it kind of cancels that out, he will die very quickly. So what I'm trying to say is, the Smite Exhaust takes a lot of balls to put on Mundo. If the team doesn't, luckily TSM doesn't have a lot that's going to keep Mundo from running away. They don't have something like maybe like a Nivea wall to be able to kind of pin Mundo in. So I would say it was okay for him to run Smite Exhaust, but it's not necessarily what you should always run on Mundo. You want to be very careful that you pick your summoners based on what you're against. So if you're against a much more CC oriented team, be very careful about taking Exhaust on Mundo. Also, I thought it was funny that Janna picked Flash Exhaust and she didn't take CV, and we'll talk a little bit more about why I think CV is so important right now in high level play. Exhaust is fine. Obviously, Exhaust is going to allow you to win your bottom lane. We see a lot of American teams do this. They'll build their bottom lane to win that lane. They'll take double heal or heal exhaust or ignite, and they'll really just try to win their lane bottom. So I thought that was pretty odd to see a more European type team take that. And then obviously Soraka takes Flash CV. To have this control. So why I wanted to stop the video here is I want to take note of something I've noticed TSM been doing in a lot of team games that I haven't seen a lot of other teams do. And that's their positioning in early game. If you note the way they position here, it's really brilliant. And whenever Hanover came out, M5 really destroyed everybody with this counter jungling that they've been doing. And even in the other tournaments and scrimmages we've seen M5 do, they continue to dominate with this strategy. And it's starting to get really, really hard for teams to stop. Early we've seen teams, put wards here by their wraiths, and that way they can tell if someone will come in that's still wraiths or still red. The problem with this though was it was really kind of using up a ward for bottom lane, and it was kind of tricky. When do you put the ward down? Where do you put the ward down? What happens if you put a ward here and they decide to come in through this way? Down through the bottom lane. Then this ward completely misses the invade altogether. So it was this really weird situation. So what I like the TSM does is they just use their bodies as wards. And if you look, they have each entrance covered, so they know if an invade's coming. With Graves being here, they can tell, like, oh, they're going to come take our blue. Udyr does start blue, so that would be the prime location for an invade. So let's say they come this way. Well, the Graves will spawn them. If they come up through this way, Soraka will spawn them through the Vision. If they decide to go take red, well, Udyr will spawn them here. If they decide to come up through this brush, Lee Sin will spawn them there. And then they can react by taking the opposite goal. So if the team would invade here and take red, they can respond by taking their red, and vice versa. If they take blue, they can respond and taking their blue. This is really, really smart. I'm going to play the video here. It's really, really smart, and it's brilliant positioning by TSM. And I really feel like that going forward into IPL, we'll see this kind of strat being played out by more teams. It's very, very safe. It's always harder to defend an invade than it is to do the invade, but it's always more beneficial to defend it than to do it yourself. So what I mean by that is if you defend the invade, you've came out more ahead than if you've tried to do the invade and failed. So, here I feel like that AL is trying to, like we talked about, try to take Udyr's blue. This is fine. Like I said, TSM know they're there. They can easily react by taking Mundo's blue, and AL knows that. They can tell by Soraka standing here where she's at. They know that they're aware of what's going on. So they're just going to back out and reset and go in the lane. A lot of newer players and newer teams, they keep trying to invade these low-level invades. That's kind of an old thing that people used to do. Nowadays, moving on, we don't really want to invade a lot. It can really put us behind. If we invade and the enemy team gets a triple kill, it's really hard to get back from that. Um, so here, something I want to talk about that I really like from AL's jungler. They pulled their Wraiths back, and the reason why they do this is because Reginald has been doing a really good job of stealing these Wraiths. He'll come over, he'll shoot a skill shot over, he'll try to get vision, and he'll steal the blue Wraith. And because of that, it really kind of puts their jungler a little bit behind. I like that they pulled it out, so it was out of range from Reginald. Also, against the Morgana, she does have a lot of control in the jungle. She did take bind first. She showed that when she tried to bind Soraka, I believe. So, Reginald isn't going to chance coming in here to take that blue and get bind and get an early kill for his team. But it is a good pull for them anyway. So a cool thing here, again, about Mundo, starting red, he does open up the ability to either go down and do his golems, which I'm glad he didn't do that. I like that he's moving to go to do his blue right now. And I like this for multiple reasons, and it really kind of changes the flow of the game going on. We'll see. But he decides just to go do blue, which I really, really enjoy that, because it throws the timer off on blue just a little bit. Because Udyr started blue, we know that his blue will respawn at around 7 minutes and 12 seconds. So that kind of automatically lets the enemy team, kind of know when his blue will be up. Now that Mundo started Wraiths and then did red, the other team doesn't know when he killed blue. There's no ward there. It's really hard to tell. So because of that, he could have went down and done golems. He could have went back and done his Wraiths and then done blue. But he went straight to blue. And he hasn't showed that he's went blue. He hasn't ganked top yet, so it's a little. Again, it's going to throw the timer off a little bit. Obviously, TSM picks him up with this ward here a little bit later, so it is obvious that they might be able to get a little bit of a timer off. It's still kind of tricky. Here he's trying to gank mid. I don't really like this. I like that he's putting a little bit of pressure on mid, on his route down to Wraiths. I like that he's at least ganking into his route instead of ganking outside of his route. But I wish he just would have went straight back and done Wraiths and try to keep ahead of the Udyr. Because of this, Oddwin has already got a little bit ahead of him in the jungle. So little advantages like that really do make a difference. But I do like that, like I said, that at least he ganked into his path. So we talked a little bit about Ryze's early game and Ryze's and Morgana's early game in the middle. I like how Ryze and Morgana are really good about controlling the matchup, being able to pause it. So here we see that Mundo is coming bottom, and he's coming bottom for a gank. He's just kind of sitting here. They are aware that he's here, and because they're aware that he's here, it allows Oddwin to have kind of a lot more control over the jungle here. This could set up Oddwin's. Oddwin's been doing this a little bit, where he'll take his opponent's Wraiths and then do his Wolves, do his Wraiths, and then go down and do his opponent's Wraiths, because in 50 seconds those do spawn, and by killing Wolves and your own Wraiths, it does allow it to spawn. So if you kind of get in a position against Oddwin or against any jungler that kind of knows timers, they will kind of infinitely camp your Wraiths. And ganking bottom like this, and showing it that early, allows that to kind of happen. If you look, his Wraiths are about to spawn, and luckily, they just spawn right there. So because of this, it could actually open up this triangle of farm that the enemy jungler can do to keep you behind. Luckily, they didn't really have wards. I really couldn't tell where Mundo went after that gank, so it kind of scared Lee Sin off from doing it. But not Lee Sin, Oddwin off from doing it. But I'm glad that that's a possibility that Oddwin can do, and he kind of bluffed it a little bit, and then realized it probably wasn't going to happen, so he kind of went off from it, But a lot of times we get into those traps as players. So again, here's a little bit of passive farming. The really cool thing about these high-level games is their mechanics are superb. So because of that, we're going to see these little moves that are about to happen that are going to knock one team into the lead over the other. And low-level play, just simply out CSing the team can lead to a victory. And high-level play it's not really as common. So because of that, it's really important to just make sure your mechanics are solid like these players, and then once you can learn from these games, you can really make sure you don't lose games because of that. So we see Mundo here, and he's going to start moving up to a top gank, and this is really important because this gank never would have happened if it wasn't from a small mistake from Dyrus, and we'll see it here. Mundo's here at this moment. Obviously, no one knows where Mundo is. If you go off of where Oddwin is, he might be at his Wraiths. It's really easy as a player, especially top lane, to kind of look at your jungler and see where your jungler is at, and you can sometimes say, okay, well, that may be where their jungler is at. So, you know, Dyrus sees that, okay, Alwyn's at Wraith, so possibly, their jungler could be at Wraiths. But he's playing a little bit safe here. You'll see that he's staying away from this bush. He's playing toward this side of his lane because if he's going to get ganked, he's going to get ganked from this side. So you can tell he's a little worried that there's going to be a gank here. So he kind of putters back and forth. Of course, the spectator comes away from this, but he uses his safeguard on a minion. I believe he was trying to get a last hit. Obviously, the camera wasn't there, so I really couldn't tell. But he uses his escape ability to either get the last hit, maybe put some pressure on Warwick. I'm not sure why he used it because, again, I couldn't see. But he uses escape ability whenever he was in a position when he could be ganked. And what this does is this allows for a gank to be, if it is here, to be a lot more damaging than what it would be if it was down. So because his safeguard's down, it's going to be a lot harder for Dyrus to get out of this gank. You see that if his safeguard was up right here, he could have definitely got away from this a lot easier. So because it was down, it definitely kind of led to the first blood here. Now, because this first blood up top, what's going to happen is Audubon's going to have to come cover the lane. And if we look at the timer, Audubon just went back. He just went back to base to buy. And the reason why he bought this early was that he wanted to go back and buy so he'd be a little bit stronger to do his blue buff. Okay, so he went back and bought. He got AL gank top and got a kill. So because of this, he's going to have to come make sure he gets the experience from top. If not, this experience goes to waste. So he'll come up and do this. And again, you want to keep note that TSM's blue buff is about to spawn. So because Udyr has to come top and cover, it not only puts Lee Sin behind because of this, but also lets all the other lanes know that, hey, look, their jungler's top. We're a lot more safe mid and bottom because we know where their jungler is at. The really cool thing about being jungle is that you don't have to worry if just being kind of hidden in the jungle allows you to kind of passively put pressure on the map. So here Morgana tries to go steal the Wraiths, and because of this, they know that Udyr's at the Wraith, so they go to move to steal blue. Again, AL can get away with this because of the opening path of Mundo and because of the kill top. It's really important to realize they can get away with taking this blue that they're about to do because they know two things. They know, first of all, that Udyr is not near. I mean, he's now coming into this, into this section of the jungle, but they knew he was at race when they went to start this. So they knew they were safe because of that. They knew they were safe because they knew he was top because of the death. And they know they're safe because TSM can't counter. They can't effectively come down and take their blue because they're taking their blue because their blue doesn't spawn until another 20 to 30 seconds because their jungler started red. So this is a really good move by AL, and I think it's really important to note that this wouldn't be possible if top didn't die and if the jungling path of Mundo was at the start at red. So again, bottom again. This is one really annoying thing about League of Legends that's really annoying for new players to look at is it is kind of a passively farming game, and then these little moves like that kind of knock the skills towards the team. So a lot of times when you watch these games, players will kind of put too much emphasis on moves like that and not enough emphasis on, hey, just need to get my mechanics better. So it is really important that you take these things into consideration, but you don't understand that they're allowed to do this because of their mechanics are so well. I'll go to my notes here a little bit. Okay, so up top here we see that Warwick is a little bit ahead of Lee Sin, not by a whole lot. Warwick did a good job about stacking armor, early armor to kind of counter Lee Sin, which is really important to know who you're against and to make sure that you're building against your lane so that you can win it. One thing that I don't like here about what happened here, and I wish I can't read here. Okay, so we see that Oddwin is doing his Wraiths here. Mundo, let me see if he gets picked up here. I don't think he does. I thought he got picked up by a ward here. No, okay, let's see. Mundo's going to do his red. Okay. Anyway, if you look up here, which was what I was trying to show earlier, is I like that Oddwin is giving his golems to Lee Sin. A lot of times we don't see this. A lot of low-level junglers do this, and it's really important that if your top does get killed, if he does get killed or he is behind a little bit, go ahead and let him have those golems. And then in response to that, you can put a little bit more time on your opponent's Wraiths. which I wish Audwin would have done a little bit better. You see here that he comes and he does his red, and then he'll move up and do his golems next. I think he does do this because of Dyrus being pushed here. So he's trying to go up and do his golems and then maybe put a little pressure on this lane. But I wish that he would have just kind of let him get those golems and then kind of pressure AL's Wraiths a little bit more heavily. But I think Reginald just does that. So never mind. This was a really good play. I didn't catch that the first time I looked through. So yeah, Reginald's going to go steal the Wraiths and they're going to do a game top. So it's a really good move by them. I think they do end up getting sandwiched here though, and get kind of picked off. But, yeah, Mundo still says Wraiths here, and then they gank. Yeah, they gank top here. They gank mid. And this is this is a really really hard situation to deal with as mid, and I can imagine Reginald being incredibly upset with this happening. But with a tanky team like this, and with the roaming ability of Anguish, with the Warwick, these kind of ganks are going to happen, and this is where I feel like the TSM kind of starts losing this game. And it's not so much because of tower dives like that, or because of really good team coordination by AL, which are all part of it. I feel like the main problem here with this is that Anguish is allowed to roam, right? He's allowed to be able to do this. And you can see that, if we've been to hit play here, you can see that the Dyrus is doing the correct thing. As soon as you see your top leave the lane, immediately push it to the tower, so they lose experience. And it's really important that he does that, and he does. But you'll see as it goes forward here, he starts attacking this tower. I wish the commentators would go back up here so we can see this. But he starts doing damage to this tower. He starts farming very well up here. I know they get a shot of it here. Yeah, okay. But he doesn't want to kill this tower, and he doesn't. Because if he kills this tower, it's going to allow Anguish to be able to free farm down here by his tower, hold the lane, and then go roam whenever he wants. By not killing this tower, you are allowing yourself to be able to push the minions to that tower and kind of punish Anguish quickly anytime he decides to leave. Reginald does a pretty good job. He comes top here and they try to get a gank. I kind of wish that Reginald just would have went back mid and let Udyr continue to jungle and kind of reset the lane here. I like that Reginald's trying to make something happen here, but I really wish they wouldn't have done this, because what happens is they kind of bait themselves into killing this top tower, and I really feel like that they really shouldn't have killed this top tower. So, like I said, they get a gank off here. They get an easy kill on Warwick here. Warwick is very easy to gank. That is one of his weaknesses, which is probably why Anguish likes to roam so much with him. And then they killed this tower here. I feel like they debated it. If you watch it, if you kind of watch their symbols, their icons down here, they kind of debate it. They kind of go in and out, and they're still not so sure that they want to take this. I assume that they're probably talking in team chat. Hey, should we take this tower? And I think they kind of thought, well, they got Dragon, maybe we should get this tower to maybe even out the odds a little bit. But in reality, even though that is true, if your opponents get Dragon and you get tower, it's not even, but it's pretty close. I think maybe that's why they decided to end up taking this tower, but I really wish they wouldn't have. I really wish they would have left this tower here and let Dyrus constantly punish Anguish for every time he left lane. But they don't. They take the tower, and because of that, like I said, it allows Anguish to roam a little bit. So while this is happening, we see Mundo top here guarding the tower. I really wish that Audwin would have maybe counter jungled a little bit more, but he couldn't have because Reginald was up top here. If Reginald was mid where he really should be at this point, it would allow Audwin to be able to counter jungle Mundo while he has to hold this lane up. Because of this really aggressive top style of play, Audwin was really forced to stay mid, and it kind of enabled their jungler to kind of come up and not really get behind in the jungle like they could have. But that's okay. Little things like this may not seem like a lot. In a low level elo, it really might not be a lot, but at this level of play, these things are really, really important. Okay. Yeah, so we see because of them taking this top tower, the effects that's going to happen in the game. It's really important. I pointed out, and one of the reasons why is because right now they're going to get the second blue of TSMs, and the only reason they can do this is because their top tower is dead. I want to make that really clear, because if this top tower wasn't dead, Dyrus could easily push the tower and punish Anguish for leaving and coming down and trying to get this blue. So they might be able to get the blue, but in return, TSM could punish Anguish for leaving top to secure this blue by losing a bunch of experience, losing CS, losing levels. But if we look at the top lane now, Darius would have to push this top lane all the way here to make him lose anything. So obviously he's not going to be able to do that, and Anguish is going to be able to not only get this blue buff, but be able to go back to lane and CS safely. So it's really important that little things like this are understood, and that whenever you go to take a tower, you understand exactly what is going to happen when you do take the tower. So here they do another dive on. I want to pause this too because this is a little mistake by Odd One. So AO goes in to do this dive with the Morgana ult and the Warwick ult. Now, whenever Odd One comes in to help, he flashes and he stuns, but I don't know if he's accidentally. I'm going to assume he accidentally clicks Morgana and stuns her instead of stunning Warwick to stop the Warwick's ultimate. If he would have done that, Reginald actually could have responded to this by putting out damage, binding targets, and they probably could have turned this dive into a double kill. Instead, he's CS this. I mean, he's CC'd this entire time, can't get out of it, and ends up resulting in the kill for AL. So a little bit of a misplay by Odd One, but I do feel like it was a misclick and not so much an inability to understand which one he should have stunned. I know when the announcers were talking about this, they kind of making it sound like that he just stunned the wrong target on purpose, or that he thought maybe he should hit Morgana. I really feel like it was more of a misclick and more of a mistake that way, more of a mechanical error than really a which one should I hit. So I do want to talk about something that's kind of funny that's going to happen here in a second with the bottom lane is, and announcers talked a lot about this, and they seemed a little bit confused about this as well. So I assume a lot of people have this problem. Is we'll look at Chaux' build bottom. I believe he's about to go back to buy, but he does go back and he does turn this yeah, he just bought it actually, but he turns this BF sword into a bloodthirster. And I know these announcers really were confused by this. They were trying to talk about, like, well, he doesn't need the sustain. He doesn't need the sustainer lane because he has this Soraka. Why would he need to go back and buy a bloodthirster? And I feel like this pick by Chaux is brilliant. I feel like it's one of the smartest item builds I've seen. One of the smartest item choices I've seen an AD carry do for a while. And what I like about this is that he does build a bloodthirster, but bloodthirster just kind of got a buff. And the reason why it wasn't used a lot before was because if you died, you lost all the stacks. It was really annoying. And for competitive play, inconsistent items are never used. That's why we don't see like Soul Stealers used. I do like that Chaux bought this item in the current lane. I think it makes more sense with the composition he bought now than if he was any other AD carry. The announcers thought that it was the other way around. They thought, well, he has Soraka. It really wasn't a good buy. The thing I like about this was we see a lot of players they build wriggles for the sustain. So they build wriggles for the armor and they build wriggles for the sustain. With Graves, he has built in armor. He has armor from Soraka's heal, so he's getting that armor. He kind of already has that armor anyway. So if he buys the wriggles, it's not as beneficial. So instead, he buys the Bloodthirster for not only the sustain but the damage. He gets it early for the early stacks, and so he's kind of getting a lot more sustain. And because he has the built-in damage reduction from his passive and from his Soraka heal. So I think it's a really, really smart choice by Chaux. So here, this is basically all about Dragon Control here. This is where a big play is about to happen here that I really like by AL. But this whole thing with the bottom diving and that happened a little bit before. Actually, we rewind it just a little bit so I can talk about it. Might have rewind it a little too much. I cannot wait till the replay comes out. By the way, yeah. So anyway, we start seeing these small little dives bottom here by Darius, and the reason why we see everyone kind of converging down to the bottom lane isn't because they want to get a kill bottom. I mean, obviously they would like to get a kill bottom, but it isn't the goal here. The goal is because everybody's trying to converge bottom to secure Dragon. They pushed Warwick to tower, they went back and bought, and they're getting ready for this Dragon fight. And because of this, Warwick hasn't had a chance to buy. So Warwick is going to be a little bit more weaker in this fight coming up because he is forced to run across the map to get here in time. So here they're trying to dive. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get an advantage for Dragon. They're trying to pick off a kill, get get some money dead so it could be a 4v5 and Dragon. You know, we'll see them start moving. The sustain from Soraka is obviously going to help this pokey help get them kind of set up for Dragon here. So as we move in here, we'll see two things happen. The first thing I want to that I like is we saw Janna put the pink ward down. She did this for a couple reasons. The main reason though is she's trying to secure vision. Anytime you get in these kind of standoffy, like you know you're going to do Dragon, or you know you're going to try to go for mid tower, you know you're going to try to get Baron. You want to try to deny as much vision and secure an area. So because they're on this side, they want to secure here, and they would like to secure, down. You really can't see it because of the camera, but they want to secure this bottom bush. They want to make sure that whenever this team comes in, they can get advantage on them. They can get a vision on them before the other team can get a vision on them. So this pink ward is obviously very well placed. So what's happening here is TSM is trying to position himself in a way to where Oddwin can maybe set up for a smite still, and we'll see it here. We'll see him kind of hug this wall, trying to get into a position where they can smite still this if needed. So basically, all this fight is Anguish and Milano trying to get Dragon, and everyone else trying to kind of keep the team, keep TSM away, keep Oddwin away from smite vision, smite range, and they're just trying to secure this. If you see, and they don't want to get engaged on. It's really important. But with Janna, they're super safe, and we'll see why here. Again, Oddwin's just trying to get in smite range. He's trying to get vision of the dragon. He's trying to make sure he can smite it, and they do get engaged on here. Now this ult from Janna, I feel like was a beautiful, beautiful ult by Janna. It knocked Darius over the ledge, and because of that, it really it made it so he cannot get back into the fight quickly. I like Reginald's positioning here. He's trying to kind of protect Darius. We'll see when Darius comes back in. He's going to make sure that Darius doesn't get jumped on from that. And then what happened there, I feel like was very lucky for AL. They all jump on Morgana ults, and they all kind of focus on Morgana, which is super smart. We don't see a lot of people do that, but whenever Morgana ults, her ult will not go off if she dies, obviously. So they were trying to burst her down and kill her before her ult went off. Luckily, it went off like the millisecond she died, and the Reginald ended up dying from that. I feel like it was a really lucky play by AL, but it shows that TSM's targeting was very good. They knew who they had to kill, and they knew that they tried to get her down in time. I'm glad. I wish it would have worked out a little better for them. So here we see that the TSM is on track to completely turn the tides on this battle, on this game. What happens here is the reason why they even though it looks like they were kind of losing, the reason why they started winning that fight was because they had a chance to go back and buy, where I think Warwick and I think one other player, maybe Mundo, didn't have a chance to buy before that fight. So they were a little bit stronger that way. And they had a lot better engage than AL had to disengage. Luckily, they blew Lee Sin over the ledge. I feel like if they wouldn't have blew him over the ledge, they wouldn't have blew Darius over the ledge, it would have been a lot different of a turnout. So here we're going to see, in my opinion, probably the star play of the game, and this play is why AL stays in this game from here on. So whenever you get into a position, I'm going to rewind it just a little bit. Whenever you get into a position where you find yourself, your team just died, you're the only one alive, and there's objective on the board, and their team is able to do it. So because of Soraka and because of the sustain from Bloodthirster, they can still do Dragon very easily here. Even though Oddwin's dead, so their smite is down, they can still do Dragon. This is still very easy for them to do Dragon with. Their sustain is super high. So Anguish is the only one alive. His team is dead. So his goal here is to stop them from doing Dragon. He does not want them to do Dragon. So what he's doing here is he's trying to bait. He's trying to play with them, make them think they can kill him. Hey, look, you can still kill me. Come over here. Don't worry about Dragon. And it gets to the point where they really can't do Dragon yet. So what they're going to do is TSM's going to go back. They're going to they're going to go back and buy, and they're going to come in and do Dragon as a team. Now, what I would like to see TSM do here is maybe just go ahead and go towards Dragon. Maybe move their way towards Dragon. I feel like these three could have killed Warwick in a 1v1, obviously. and maybe stopped it that way. But instead, they decided to take the safe route, which is all. That's what competitive play is all about: is the safest way possible. And the safest way for them to take Dragon was to go back and heal and do it as a team. So that's what they decided to do. We'll see Anguish realizing that. Oh, okay, holy crap! They're going to take the safe route and do this. So he, very like, this is brilliant, is trying to stop them from backing here. If he can stop them from backing here, his team will actually get the dragon and be able to do it before they get back. And so that's what he's trying to do here. So he does. He goes in and stops. And to punish that, TSM is trying to get a kill here. They have red buff up. They're trying to get a kill on him. He flashes and he gets away. Now, this wasn't like a lot of players will see this and think, okay, well, Warwick was trying to go get a kill. He was trying to go kill, Chaux or Dyrus and get a kill, and he didn't. Crap, that sucks. But this was such a much higher level of play than that. He was, like I said before, he was trying to stop Dragon. His goal is to stop them from doing Dragon, and because of that, because he stopped that back, TSM is now unable to do Dragon. It's impossible for them to do. If they try to contest Dragon now, 3 of them are almost dead, and they'll get destroyed, and not only give up Dragon, but give up probably at least 3 kills, maybe 4. So because of this, they cannot do Dragon. They're going to lose yet another Dragon. So this is, I believe, AL's second Dragon. So Odwin is going to, secure his blue here. That's all he really can do. Everyone else is going to combine. The game's going to kind of reset. We'll see people start moving to their lanes and continue to farm. Like I said, in my opinion, that is where the game completely turned to AL's favor. Even though it doesn't look like, 6-5, 24-21, it doesn't look like it's that big of a deal. But that play was so huge for them, and such a brilliant play. That's actually one of the reasons why I chose this game over the other one, was to kind of explain that. Also here, like I said, Dyrus is going to continue to do golems. I like that he is. I like that Odwin, is continuing to giving him golems. I think it's really, really important to, as jungler, you can really kind of, as the jungler, you can control the flow of the game. You can make sure that the player, that people you want get the experience, and you can help lanes that are behind. Okay, so again, this is common TSM logic, and I love this logic. I feel like it's really, really smart. Anytime you lose Dragon, you need to do something to get, you've just been behind, you need to do something to get back in. So what they're going to do is because they lost Dragon, they're going to try to come mid, and they're going to try to get the mid tower. I love this logic. I think it's really, really smart. I think it shows a lot of game sense by them. AL, though, again, is very smart about being right on TSM and kind of stopping them. They're defending these pushes because they know they're ahead. So they're going to go secure their blue and then quickly go back and guard mid. Again, this Bloodthirster by Chaux, I feel like, has just really allowed him to outtrade with Kog'Maw, which is really important. Kog'Maw is very hard to outtrade against, especially once we start getting into like the mid to late game. He becomes really powerful. But with Chaux' Bloodthirster and with Soraka, it's going to be very hard for Kog'Maw to outtrade him. It's going to be hard for Chaux to get knocked out of lane, which is what you need when you're on the purple side. As you're on purple side, you can't rely on your jungler's support. So I like that he just becomes really sustaining, and he actually ends up picking up a kill here as well. So again, we see a little skirmish going on in mid. Really, what they're doing right now over mid, they're kind of fighting just over mid tower. It's really important to realize that the TSM wants this mid tower. They want to get this 150 gold from this. So they're moving in here to try to get it. They want to try to make up a little bit of gold that they lost from Dragon. So they come in here, and they actually end up picking up the tower. But Reginald does get bind, and because of that bind, they're going to end up losing. Reginald. They really want to get Morgana again to try to get back into even. Once something happens, they're trying to get back into it. They're trying to get this kill. So they kind of go after Morgana. They kind of overextend and they end up dying. Again, we saw Warwick come down. Warwick didn't really secure that kill, but he did come down. And because I believe they're going to they're going to dive bottom as well. Again, it's really important to realize that this top tower was not dead. He would be losing experience right now. He would have lost so much experience because, again, if this top tower is not dead, it allows Anguish to still be able to kind of roam and do these things that I feel like he wouldn't be able to do if this top tower was dead. So he's going to all in here and get an easy kill on Soraka. And they're going to take I believe they take mid tower. AL takes both mid tower and bottom tower off of this push. Um, so what TSM was trying to do was again take mid tower in response to Dragon, which they did and did beautifully. But they got if Reginald didn't get caught, AL did an amazing job of securing the initiation with the bind and resulting in that kill, the tower kill leading to a kill for the team. Actually, I think it was a double kill and a Oracles maybe as well. I think it was a triple. Yeah, they lost 3-1 and an Oracles for a tower. So again, TSM was just slowly falling even more behind. So at this point, the game is going to be very hard for TSM to win back, and the reason why these levels of play, you're really hoping that the other team will make a mistake. It's really hard to come back when you're this far behind from just outplaying people. But we'll see that Mundo's trying to come in, steal some raves, catches all in here, but this won't result in the kill. So now that the AOL has this little bit of advantage, they're going to start kind of trying to. Well, actually, here's a good. They try to catch Mundo there, and they end up using two ultimates on Mundo. They used Rise's ultimate and Graves' ultimate both, and they didn't get a kill here. So because of that, AO knows that they're at a huge advantage here. They not only have they have two ults down from TSM, so now would be the perfect time for them to get into a fight. They're already ahead. The other team's down two ultimates. The only ultimate they've burned is Mundo's ult, which isn't that big of a deal. So right now they're going to try to engage. That's what they're kind of trying to do here. They're trying to engage and kind of get into a position where they can control the buffs. So we'll see. They're just kind of trying to get in position. AL has an advantage here, but they're not going to. Again, they're ahead. There's no reason. I wish they would have been a lot more aggressive. Like we talked about before, like I said, blue buff was about to spawn. I mean, if you keep a track of the timers, we knew blue buff was about to spawn. We know that TSM's down two ultimates, and I wish they would have been able to, kind of hold their position here and secure this blue buff here. I think they end up taking this blue buff anyway. They kind of swing in here and take it. But I wish they were a little bit more, just a little bit more prepared. I think they could have maybe baited TSM until maybe another kill there. But they do end up taking the blue buff pretty much for free. Again, TSM knows they're behind. They're behind with the ultimates as well, and they really can't directly fight AL here. This will also lead into another dragon, I believe, that they just got. And I think AL begins to start thinking about Baron after this. Maybe they go back and buy. I think Warwick farms here for a little bit, and they go back and buy, but we'll see. So here, what TSM is trying to do here is they're trying to take AL's blue. Again, that's one thing I really do like about watching TSM play. They really are aware of what's going on. So they know that they just lost blue. So to try to get back even with that, they're trying to take blue. Again, their blue timer is down just a little bit, and they're not for sure when it spawns. So because of that, they end up actually catching Warwick, which I believe Warwick was trying to bait for his team, and the team was just a little bit far behind. But this still was a good move by both teams. It was a good decision making by both teams. So we do get into a little bit of a fight here. Again, I believe that it doesn't result in anything big happening. The main thing here is TSM's just trying to fight over blue. But they really want to be really careful here because both teams will be very careful here because you tell that's kind of why they're playing so safe. If any of them lose a fight, it automatically opens up Baron for the other team. So, Mundo is very tanky with his Warmog, so he's in no danger of dying. His ult is down, but TSM still can't pressure AOL. They're just so far ahead. The AL's I think they do start Baron here very shortly. Yeah, they do. They do it right here. With Mundo, with Cogmaw, and whenever Warwick gets up here, he's kind of lagging a little bit far behind here. I think he's doing blue buff actually. Maybe I wish I could see. I don't think any team got blue buff, so did he get blue? Yeah, I think they gave blue to Cogmaw there. Okay, yeah. So they can AL can very quickly take down Baron here. TSM tries to still here. They get vision with the Lee Sin's Q, and then Ottoman tries to flash in and smite it. Unfortunately, he does get beat out by AL's jungler. I'm sorry, I'm not really familiar with his name, Milano. He does get beat out by him, and it results into I think 2 kill, one kill, be an odd one. I think they get a kill right there on Reginald. I think they do end up picking up Dyrus, and they get Soraka's Oracle right here with an awesome, a brilliant bind by Sting. Yeah. So again, obviously this game is spiraling out of control. AL from here actually ends up, going back. Actually, I think I think there's pressure right through and win. So that's kind of the end of this. I don't want to make you guys watch them just blow up a Nexus. Let me get back into here. But it is really important to understand that these little things I've talked about really do turn a game from high level play. Just little mistakes will drastically change. And I feel like a couple things that two big things that allowed AL to win this game. The first thing was the top tower situation. I feel like again, TSM really shouldn't have took the top tower. They should have left it up and try to punish Anguish for roaming so much. And the second thing was the buff timers on Mundo starting red really allowed them to be a lot more aggressive on TSM's blue. Because their blue spawned, I think it was about 40 seconds, maybe 30 to 40 seconds later than AL's blue buff. They could pressure TSM's blue buff and not really have to worry about a counter blue buff. And then that you even saw that at the end, they try to come take AL's blue buff. It wasn't even up yet, so they kind of got out of position a little bit. Luckily, they got a kill on Warwick. But little things like that will really spiral the game out of control. So I think that's really the two big things to take out of this game is to make sure that you kind of you think as a team, you think more about when you should take your towers. It's really important for new teams, especially like new range teams getting in. Really think about the towers, like TSM does and like AL does. That top tower decision wasn't just a snap decision. I can almost guarantee that Reginald and Dyrus were talking about it as a team. Should we take this tower? Shouldn't we take the tower? I think because they lost the first dragon, they decided to take that tower. I think at any other time they would have just left it. I think that decision kind of led to them losing, but it wasn't thought out. It was thought out. I don't think that was a decision TSM had no idea what the outcome would be. All right, well, again, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I kind of want to talk a little bit before I get off here about next week. So next week, my show will start at 9 o'clock. The reason why is, it's a little bit late, starting at 10:30. I feel like a lot of people don't have a lot of time to watch, and people have to get ready to go to bed for work or whatever. The reason I have to start at 10:30 is because I kind of want the West Coast people to have a chance to watch, too, at a reasonable time. So I think 9 allows them to watch at 6, and it shouldn't be too bad, so I really hope that will probably work out a little bit better for everyone. And then this week, or tomorrow, again, I'm only going to do live shows Monday through Wednesday. Thursday, tomorrow I'll be doing my Graves commentary, which is, basically what I do is I'll take a game and I commentate me playing that game and kind of explain how to play that champion for lower level players. Kind of go over, what he does as his moves, and then show, why I build this and why I build this, and kind of go over some things. Kind of what I did with this game, but just with me playing Graves. And then Friday, I'll be rebroadcasting episode 2. Basically, it was just me talking about I think it was my roommate's game. Playing Warwick, he was Warwick jungle, and I just kind of went over why he lost. And again, I'm sorry about the sound issue. I really apologize for that. I'm sorry that my yesterday's episode just was basically a waste. I really apologize. And then next week, I'll be doing Monday. I'll be talking about last hitting for new players. I'll be talking about how to last hit better, why you should be last hitting, and why it's so important. Tuesday, I'll be taking a new player's replay, going over it just like I did this week. And then Wednesday, I'll definitely do an IPL game. I'm not sure which one yet. Obviously, it hasn't even started yet, so I'm not sure which one I'll take. But I'll take over which one I think that was pretty unique and talk about it, just like I did this TSM game. So thank you guys so much. If you haven't watched that whole series, please go to teamsolomed.net, go to the video section, and watch those videos. They're all that whole series was a really good series. AL played brilliantly that whole series, and it's a good lesson for anybody just to kind of check out and see how high level play is supposed to be played. So thank you guys very much. I'll see you tomorrow with my commentary, and thanks a lot for watching.